A small J.r.o.t.c. gathering turned deadly on Tuesday when a student brandished a handgun that he had brought to a Houston area high school and pulled the trigger, unintentionally killing an upperclassman who had already enlisted in the Army, the authorities said.
On Wednesday, a Texas prosecutor announced that the 16-year-old suspect and fellow J.r.o.t.c. student at Bel Air High School had been charged with manslaughter. The suspect fled and was captured several hours later, prompting fears of another targeted shooting in a state that has endured a spate of gun violence.
The authorities did not release the suspect's name because of his age.
The Bel Air Police Department identified the victim on Wednesday evening as Cesar Cortez, 19, whom the high school's Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps website listed as the Delta Company commander and showed in his dress uniform.
Friends and family members released balloons and held a candlelight vigil on Wednesday for Mr. Cortez, whom they described as a focused young man who was dedicated to a military service career and his physical fitness regimen. "He really was your typical kid with big dreams of being in the Army and serving his country," Mr. Cortez's uncle Cesar Diaz said on Wednesday night. "He really felt he could make a difference. Cesar is known for being the quietest, the most introverted, focused on just doing the Army thing."
Kim Ogg, the Harris County District Attorney, said in an interview Wednesday night that the shooting did not appear to be intentional based on interviews with other students who had been in the storage room where the suspect pulled out the gun.
"Ignorance of whether a weapon was loaded or not does not remove liability," Ms. Ogg said.
On Wednesday night, the handgun had still not been recovered by the authorities, who said the suspect was not cooperating with the investigation.
"It's important that I know where he got it and how he got it," Ms. Ogg said of the weapon, noting that her office had prioritized gun violence prevention. "Our culture in Texas, it embraces firearms, there's a lot of guns in Texas."
The shooting happened around 4 p.m. Tuesday, just as classes were ending at the public high school in Bel Air, an enclave in southwestern Harris County that is part of the Houston Independent School District. Other students saw the suspect with the gun on Tuesday morning, a police department spokesman said.
Ms. Ogg said she had not ruled out charging the suspect as an adult.
"Reckless conduct that causes the death of another individual is something that this young person is going to have to live with the rest of his life," Ms. Ogg said during a news conference earlier on Wednesday.
A second person was detained by the police on Tuesday, but was not charged, the authorities said.
Mr. Diaz said he learned from other J.r.o.t.c. members that the suspect had called his nephew and another student into a storage room to show them the gun that had been stored in his locker. He said the suspect had a history of bullying.
"That's when he raised his shirt and they noticed the gun in his waistband," Mr. Diaz said. "This kid cocked it."
The suspect shot Mr. Cortez in the chest, the authorities said.
"We don't see this as an accidental," Mr. Diaz said. "We are holding the school accountable."
Students were expected to return to the school on Thursday after classes were cancelled on Wednesday.
"As a parent, I am deeply saddened and angered by this horrific act of violence," Grenita Lathan, the school district's interim superintendent, said in a statement on Wednesday. "Unfortunately, HISD is not immune to the plague of gun violence afflicting school campuses nationwide."
The superintendent said that there would be heightened security and grief counselors at the school.
"We are committed to vigilantly protecting students and staff at our schools," she said. "HISD will continue to evaluate our security measures, as we regularly do, in order to maximize the safety of our children and staff." Jack
Begg contributed research.